Hey everybody, how's it going? Josh here, and today we're going to talk about how Goku and Vegeta may lose the Super Saiyan God form, and I guess as a result may lose their God Ki and the Super Saiyan Blue form. And this all comes from the upcoming Dragon Ball Super arc called the Galactic Patrol Prisoner Saga arc, which introduces us to a new villain called Moro. Now, Moro, besides being visually kind of unique, I guess, amongst a lot of the more recent Dragon Ball Super villains we've received, I mean, he has like a goat/humanoid appearance, which I think is really interesting. I'm really curious to see how his appearance will change over time, considering most of these villains have a final form, or at least one other form they kind of use, especially during the more climatic fights. I mean, Zamasu had his kind of changed form. We've also seen even characters like Jiren, who didn't look like he'd have a transformation, ended up having at least a more buff kind of version of himself. Broly obviously had his forms. Frieza has his forms, Cell had his forms going way back there too. I mean, Boo had his various forms. So I'm kind of curious to see what Moro's various forms, if he does get more than one extra form, will be. And hopefully it's nothing too crazy. But what makes him really interesting is that he's not only a master martial artist and an alien and things like that, but also he's a magic user. And he's capable of using magic on par with gods, which is definitely a level of using magic that we haven't really seen often in the Dragon Ball mythos, especially in Dragon Ball Super. So when he was free way back when, millions of years ago, before being imprisoned by Grand Supreme Kai, and this is the Kaishin that was later absorbed by Boo, that kind of resulted in Fat Boo looking the way that Fat Boo looks. So pretty much, in order for him to be imprisoned in the first place, that Grand Supreme Kai had to use quote-unquote most of his godly power to seal Moro in his magic away. And even then, after doing that, Moro still had so much power, the Galactic Patrol didn't know if they could actually kill him, so they just basically gave him life in prison. But what makes it really interesting is that with all this said and done, it resulted in the Grand Supreme Kai losing a lot, like I said before, quote-unquote most of his godly power in order to do so, which made him very weak later when Boo ended up fighting him. And that's presumably why, one of the reasons why Boo was able to defeat him the way he was. It's really hard to say because at the time Boo was also described to be this great, evil, powerful being. So I don't really know how much this is saying Boo's not as strong as we thought he was in the first place, versus that the Kaishin was actually really powerful, or the Grand Supreme Kai at the time was extremely powerful. But Goku and Vegeta's time during Dragon Ball Super has seen them reach various new levels of power, especially their powers of godhood level power, including unlocking Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue, for Vegeta also Super Saiyan Blue kind of grade 2 if you will. So Dragon Ball Super definitely has done a lot of those, and that's kind of been synonymous with Dragon Ball Super, to the point where Goku, when he appeared in the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade float, appeared as Super Saiyan Blue Goku instead of traditional Super Saiyan Goku or just normal Goku with his black hair. And this is really cool because we always knew that Dragon Ball Super had to connect with the end of the Dragon Ball manga at some point. I mean, the Farewell Dragon World chapter is the as canon ending as we know we're going to get at this point for the franchise. They've always said from the beginning, when Dragon Ball Super kind of started, that it would all eventually lead to this chapter from the manga, but we never really knew how. And I really do think that the lack of Super Saiyan God being mentioned, and of course Godly Ki and Gods of Destruction, all that stuff, obviously it probably was because Toriyama wasn't thinking about it that much at the time, but a lot of fans have been questioning how they're going to tie it all together. And I think an easy scapegoat for the Dragon Ball series at this point is using Moro's storyline to remove God Ki from Goku and Vegeta. Now, a lot of people might be saying, well, can Goku and Vegeta do something like seal a character away, such as Moro? And the question is, why couldn't they? They've done sealing techniques before, especially Goku has. They even tried doing one as recent as the Zamasu story arc. So it kind of seems like a deliberate side effect to defeat Moro would be using, this godly energy, this God Ki that you might have. And I don't see them introducing it the way they did, unless it would become a plot point later on in the story arc. So it would definitely open the door for Goku and Vegeta to lose a lot of their godly energy, and in, I guess, the process, you could say they would lose their godly forms, but also it opened the door for Goku and Vegeta to gain more forms, more techniques, and more abilities, and also at the same time for the business side for Toei and stuff like that, sell more merch, because you would probably give Goku and Vegeta a different form, whether it would be giving fan service by finally introducing Super Saiyan 4 into canon, or some other form that we don't know about, like maybe Goku just going forward simply just has Ultra Instinct somehow, or maybe Vegeta gets a new form similar to Ultimate Gohan's form. Like, there's a lot of possibilities you could do. They could also introduce a whole new Super Saiyan tree of like Super Saiyan Orange or something, I don't know. Possibilities are endless, basically, is my point. And comment below your guys' thoughts. What do you guys think about this? Goku and Vegeta maybe losing Super Saiyan God. Are you a fan of the form? Do you hate the form? I thought it was interesting, but I do think they use it a little too often. In my personal opinion, it kind of loses the special feeling it has when it was first introduced, especially since right after they introduced it, they introduced Super Saiyan Blue. But comment below, and we'll see you guys later.